Meaning ukuthi thina, we are the defeated nation, because umuntu admire umuntu onjani okushayile wakunqoba. And so ufuna ukuba njengaye. Izibuzo ukuthi why am a Muslim? They don't want to be like whites. The Chinese, they don't want to be like whites. Angani uma siya understand yini. Muslim also walibona lizama ukuzenza umlungu at all. As well nane China lisoze walibona lizama ukuzenza umlungu. But again, let's start from the beginning so that we understand Babwam, and then from there I'll open up to the discussion. There is something known as I conceptualize ukuthi. I've said it about 3-4 years ago. We are entering what we call it the fourth socio-economic and political power transition. The fourth socio-economic and political power transition. I was trying to warn the people, but I was crazy. That's why I'm having dreadlocks. But that's where we are now. The first one was the arrival of the British, the Cecil John Rhodes and the others. They established their system and structures. And then they formed what we call it the Union of South Africa. I mean, before that, it was colonialism when they arrived. They killed us. You have to understand, they came and they killed us, and then they controlled South Africa. They created systems and structures when they arrived. After that, in 1910, they handed over to the Afrikaners. In 1910. But before they done that, in 1906, remember that there was a Zulu rebellion by Upambata Kamanqinza. That was led by Upambata Kamanqinza. Even there, they killed us. They even beheaded him. After that, they handed over power to the Afrikaners. The Afrikaners, what they did as well, you know it very well in the 80s. And even before the 80s, they were killing us. That's why people were killed by the Afrikaners after they took over the government from the British. And that transition was the third one. Because in the first one also, remember, Uti, the British were not recognizing the Afrikaners as the citizens of this country or as human beings until in 1910, where they were saying you can be in government now, we recognize you, and then take this document of apartheid, keep on oppressing the what? The natives. And then the British, I mean the Afrikaner, you know what they did when it comes to apartheid. They implemented it. They were killing us. And they became the citizens of this country. Us were not the citizens of this country. They were still hunting us, wanting us to go deep, deep, deep beneath the earth to extract the resources, our resources, so that we can enrich them. Fine, we refused. The Zulu people refused to join. That was the second transition. The third transition that happened was in 1994. Because the British said to the Afrikaners, you can't control the townships. There is so much violence that is happening there. And the people who can really control those people who are angry in townships is the ANC. Where was the ANC? It was in London. And so meaning that they were incubating them. They were teaching them what to do when they unleashed them to be the native administrators. Immediately in 1994, that Danet was killed. When the black people were starting to stand up to say, look, it seems as if you and the Afrikaners and the British, we are the same. We are not giving what belongs to us. Dadane was killed. You know what happened in Life Domain? You know what happened in Phoenix? You know what happened to Mamu Fikile Njangase Kasomkhet? You know what happened to Babu Bazuga, South. Meaning, the British government that killed us during colonialism, as well as the Afrikaner government that killed us during the 90s, the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. And from the 90s, from the 2000, 95, 96, until today, we are being killed by the ANC government. Meaning that the native in this country never had a government to protect them. That's where we are now. And so that was the third transition that happened in 1994. The most interesting one is this one. Is the fourth one. All these transitions, they kill the black person. All of them. And they make us slaves. Because remember that the arrival of a white person in this country, it was to erase us. Today, as I'm standing here, a number of young people, kids this time, you know what is happening. That's the fourth one. It means that at the end of the day, the primary objective of a white person is going to succeed in this transition, in this fourth one, of which is to wipe us out, or to wipe us off, or to erase us. But possibly unconsciously, we are not aware of that. We think that this is just another tragedy in our country. It's not a tragedy. The people who are in this house, they've went through serious violence. And that violence surely made your spirit to be broken. I can assure you might not be aware. You can't now stand up and fight for your rights. You might not be aware of that. But that is what is happening. And now, this government is targeting the next generation, is breaking their spirit at a very young age. Because if 24 kids are being killed, and us, we don't stand up and protect them, we are socializing them around the concept of accepting to be a slave, of accepting defeat, of accepting to be broken, of accepting to be dehumanized, and of accepting to be killed. That's what is happening right now in our country. Since the arrival of a white person, we have not seen so much massacre on the side of a white person. We have not heard that 10 children of white people have been killed, or 300, like what happened in Phoenix, of white people or Indian have been killed. Ask yourself why we are the ones who are supposed to be killed. And so this 10% and 90% split is clear an indication that we as the natives, we have accepted a defeat, even if we are the one who are in charge in terms of numbers. We talk about democracy, that democracy is about the will of the people and is about numbers. Let me tell you something. Miriam Makeba made it clear that wherever a white man is always a winner. Whether there are 2 or 3 in the house of 1,000 black people, they will come out as winners. And us will always be defeated. I always feel ashamed when I watch these court proceedings. Abantwana bakithi abamaloya bebhidisha English. And then to an extent, we think that they can't really understand their profession. It's the issue of language. You can't be confident with a language that is not your mother tongue. But I don't want to go there. That's where I want to be. I just gave you a broader. I just gave you a broader perspective of where we are today. I know you might not get me, but anyway, that's where we are. We spoke, I sent this part one. That Noam Chomsky, when he said the general population does not know what is happening, and it does not know that it does not know. We are ignorant that we are ignorant, in summary. We are ignorant that we are ignorant, in summary. You see, but I am not there. That's where I am. You know, Babu, I will keep on referring to you, Babu Mhlangano, Baba Umthembu from the SACP. Maybe here I will factor the issue of class and race. In South Africa, we always, you know, our education has brainwashed us, even to an extent how we interpret the power structures and the politics in this country. Because today we are scared to talk about white people. We are scared to talk about Indians. We are even scared to talk about the foreign nationals who have been weaponized by the system against us. We are scared about those